Hello there. Hola, bonjour. Welcome to today's broadcast of the Successful and Fulfilled Digital Summit. I'm Kim Warren Martin, and I'm truly glad you're tuning in. Titles are one thing. Heart, passion, and dedication are quite another. Talk with today's trainer, Ethel J. Davis, CEO, founder, and portfolio manager at VZD Capital Management, LLC, and it quickly becomes crystal clear that while her business is money, her passion surpasses numbers and goes right to the heart of who she is as a professional, a mentor, a woman, and a daughter. She is the first African-American female to own 100% of a registered investment advisory firm in the Midwest and one of the few within the United States. In 2018, Ethel was named a Wall Street Journal 2018 5-Star Wealth Manager. And she was also recognized in Forbes as a Forbes 5-Star Wealth Manager you need to know in 2018. And those are just a couple of the accolades she received this year. She makes it her mission to work with her clients to extract their stories, filter the information, then build a customized solution that fuels their dreams, honors their heritage, and exceeds their financial expectations. Grab pen and paper, take notes on the ins and outs of estate planning and other wealth building topics as the incomparable Ethel J. Davis trains on 5 important steps to become wealthy in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
I'm Ethel Davis. I'm the CEO of VZD Capital. I am so excited to be a part of the Success and Fulfillment Seminar. I hope today that the information that I deliver to you, not only is it going to be powerful knowledge to move you to your destiny of financial wellness, but that you embrace it and then you pass it forward. Knowledge is power, but it's not real power until we apply it. So I'm very much looking forward to spending time with you. I have an open door policy. If I can help you in any way, please don't hesitate, and Kim will be providing you with information as to how to reach it. Well, today I wanted to spend a little time on estate planning. Estate planning is very much important to our personal and professional financial health. And we're going to go over 3 points as of why. The first point is that estate planning is to make sure we have a roadmap, because we never know the date, time, or hour that something can change our lives drastically. That we might be driving in our car, or we could be sitting at home and some illness come over us. And so I want to make sure that you are protected and your assets are protected. So the first thing that everyone should have, no matter your age, is power of attorneys for health care and financial. So I want you to ask this question to yourself. If something would happen to me today, my husband, if you're married, or if you're single, just yourself, who would be making your health care decisions? Have you had the conversation as to the end of life? I know sometimes it's hard to think about our own mortality, but we know that in life, there's death and taxes that we all must pay. So therefore, do you want to be on a machine? Who do you want to make that your end of life wishes? And who do you feel you can trust to make those important decisions? Well, if you don't have a power of attorney, then basically the hospital or wherever facility might have what is called an advance directive, but it's not detailed enough. Do you want to have a funeral? Do you want to be cremated? Do you want to be on life support? These are all healthcare matters that you should be talking to not only if you're married, your spouse, your children, your parents, whoever your support, I call it your tribe, whoever your tribe is, and then put their names down. For example, for mine, it takes two people. And one is my best friend, one is my business partner. And then if either one of those are not available, then it's my family. And the reason is because I live in a town that I don't have any family. So they may not have time to get here. And you need to think about that before you make that decision. Who would be the best person to act on your behalf and carry out your wishes? That's a power of attorney for healthcare. Second one is a power of attorney for finances. And our finances can be twofold. It can be our personal finance, or it might be your finance and business. So those are two different arteries, same heart, two different arteries. So let's talk about the personal. That would have to do with your personal checking account, savings account, your investments. It can also be if you own real estate. So what I'm asking there is, who do you want or who do you trust enough to make the decisions on your behalf? They would be able to write checks. They would be able to make informed decisions as to, no, she did not want me to buy a Ferrari. This is the outline of her assets. They know exactly where they are. And then you need to tell them what you want to have happen. For example, in my personal, I'm single. So my power of attorneys know that how much goes to my family, that's all in writing. Then I have charities and foundations that I also want to give money to. Then in business, if you're set up as an LLC, where you might be the only person who's able to write a check, you need to then have a power of attorney for your business. And that's part of your succession plan. Because if something happens to my business, then if I haven't named someone, no one can touch it. And if it goes to probate court, personal or professional, guess who's going to get my money? The government. So these things are critically important, not only to protect us, to protect what we have worked so very hard to accumulate. So I always tell my clients, we leave nothing to chance. We make informed decisions, we execute, and that way we can sleep well at nighttime, we can get on an airplane, whatever it is, and you don't have to worry, I don't have my estate plan. You'll be surprised that 90% of the people have no estate plan. Not personal, not business, nothing. So business owners, I truly encourage you, please have a succession plan. Worked very hard for your business. How do you want to protect it? Have a succession plan. The next thing that I would like to talk about in estate planning is a trust. A lot of people think, oh, I have to be a millionaire, and I don't know why here lately, everything is about $1 million. I'm kind of against that, because I guess what I'm hearing is everyone just thinks once they get to $1 million, that's it. I never say that wealthy is $1 million. Wealthy starts with a wealthy mindset. Wealthy starts with, I want to have something that I can pass on for generations to come. So when you're thinking about wealth, you want to start right here. And then you say, how can I do it? Well, number one, you need to plant your money in fertile ground. So I certainly hope that you're planting your money in fertile ground, in companies, in businesses that are lucrative, that is growing, that you understand. Or if you don't, you've hired someone to help you to do that, and that they have a proven track record. They have been extremely successful. They are licensed, because we need to do our due diligence in business just to ensure that everything we do, we have truly did the homework. So in order to set up a trust, you need to either A, find an estate planning attorney, and I asked, how much of estate planning does your firm do? Because a lot of times attorneys are trial attorneys, divorce attorneys, but they really don't do estate planning. So if they don't do that at least 50% of the time, how are they going to stay up on the different laws? How do they know the difference between Kansas, California, or any other place? So I like to work with the best people. And sometimes people want to do things cheap. Cheap is not always best. So I have a trust. And because as a single woman, I want to make sure my assets are protected. So what that means, in my trust, everything is in a trust. It's a revocable trust. And what that means, something happens to me, it doesn't go to probate. I have an executor over my estate. That is the person that will handle, and they have a copy of my trust to know exactly. It's a roadmap. Here's the asset she owns. Here's what she wants to have happen. A lot of times our trust is so that when we pass on money to the next generation, that it's protected from our creditors. It's protected from people who said, you know, I'm kin to her, so therefore I should get some of those assets. Once you have a trust, that's nothing no one else can do. It's already done. The second part of that has to do with your business. A lot of times as sole proprietors, LLCs, we really haven't thought about how to sustain our business long after we are gone. So maybe those of you have a family business, that's where you could have a family partnership. And that is also a trust document. The business may be an LLC, but once upon your death, it goes into a family partnership. So therefore, if you're passing it to your family, that's already done. You don't want to wait, because who knows how long we have. Then you want to name who can write checks and make financial decisions on the business side. Regrettably, I had a girlfriend that her and her husband had two businesses, and they owned it individually. And what happened? Regrettably, he died suddenly. Just had a massive heart attack. What we found out is because the business was an LLC, there was nothing she could do, even though they had been married past 10 years. I never want to hear that again, just because we didn't do our homework. So I encourage each and every one of you that are listening, that is part of this great series of information that Kim is doing, that you will want to that today. Don't wait for tomorrow. Start today and say, you know what? I have to get my arms around my estate because I'm working 8, 10 hours, whatever, how much time. And yet, I didn't protect the one commodity that really sustains me and my family and generations to come, which is what? Money. Number 2, business. So we have to think like truly business owners, not mom and pop business owners, like the Apple business owner, like the Google business owner. Something happens to me, I have a successor that steps in to take my role. I'm grooming that person to make sure that they understand every aspect of my business. And then I want my grandkids and my children to come in. But yet they have to earn it. I'm not just going to give it to them because, again, if you don't know how to run a business, why should I give you a business to run it in the ground? So everything we do, there is order. And a lot of times as business owners, we're just out here trying to survive. We're really not thriving. We're really not growing because we missed those steps. I encourage everyone that comes to me, we don't do anything out of order. Because if it is, I really do not deserve for you to harm me. So I want you to start thinking in the same way. Is the person I'm hiring, are they really out for me? Because it's not a one-size-fits-all. And then lastly, estate planning has to do with our children. So if you're a young parent, a single mother or two-family household, and you have young children, what happens if something happens to you and your husband or your significant other? Who raises your children? Do you want the courts to decide who will be the guardian over your children? That's something that estate planning will take care of. Oftentimes, if it's not one grandparent is fighting against the other, is that really what you think is best for your child, your children? Take the time to think about these things before something happens. There's no time like the present. If you have a child with special needs and you know that they're going to need help, set up a special need trust for that child so that someone is named the executor and they make sure that that child is well taken care of. We are not in the place where we get a government bailout. We have to think like the government and bail ourselves out. And estate planning is a process that makes sure that we're not leaving nothing to chance, that we're not saying, here, government, take everything that I work hard for. It's your gift. That's why so many people don't make it in business, because we're not thinking like business leaders. Let's talk about your trusted, valuable assets. So real estate, you might own oil, you might have other tangible assets. I know many of my clients have art collections that is worth over $20 million. What happens to that? Who do you want that to go to? Oftentimes in your estate plan, upon your death, it's called planned giving. You will say, I want $250,000 to go to these charities because you've pledged that in your trust. So that, whatever that organization is, knows that you love them and that, guess what? You will make sure that they are a part of your estate plan. Don't leave it to chance. That's the worst thing that we can do as financial leaders, is to leave our assets for the government to tell us what to do. And then finally, bring your family in, bring your children in. Let's raise responsible children. Teach them about finances. Teach them about credit. Set up an educational trust so that your children and their children will have assets to go to college without having taken out student loans that you pay for the rest of your life. Start today. Don't wait for tomorrow. Start right now. Because the sooner you get started, the better off you'll be. Don't wait till you get 50 and you look around and you think, oh my gosh, I'm so behind the 8 ball. I don't even know where to start because I'm overwhelmed. The reason we do that is because It's hard to think about one day I'm going to retire. One day, this life will be over. But yet, it's important for me to make sure that my family and generations to come, that I have provided so that they understand we can be the lender and not the borrower. We can have great wealth, but we have to make informed decisions. Wealthy starts with a mindset. Estate planning is simply a process that you tie the wealthy mindset with legal options to secure your future no matter where you are. That is my story. I endorse this message, and I hope that everyone that hears this information I've delivered today will start thinking wealthy, will start acting wealthy. Don't fake it. Because see, faking does not get you anywhere. Just make it. As my dear friend says, no more excuses, only results. Again, I'm Ethel Davis, CEO of BZD Capital Management. I wish you and yours a very blessed day. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Kim Warren Martin, and I'm the founder of Successful and Fulfilled, where our mission is to help women to embrace the courage I know you already have to step out of your comfort zone and live life the way you want to live, not just the way you're expected to live. It's not about leaving your job, your family, or school, or any of that. It's about launching into what I call the #undeniable you. So if you want to be a part of a mastermind and enjoy the type of training and support you're receiving now, where experts talk about components of self-mastery, business principles, and wealth building, if you're looking to make sure you're connected to a resource that is all about supporting you to live a successful and fulfilled lifestyle, come on over to www.successfulandfulfilledinterview.com now. I want to meet with you to make sure it's a good fit. If you want to be a part of this movement of individuals dedicated to not only the emotional state of happiness, but also the soulful state of fulfillment, I invite you to a private conversation to make sure you learn more about us and we learn more about you. Come on over to www.successfulandfulfilledinterview.com now. It is a great way for me to learn more about what you want to be successful, about what you need to be fulfilled, and what's most important to you in your life. This is a highly customized membership, so we are very selective. And so I want to meet with you to be sure it's a good fit for both of us. If you're ready to share your talents, your skills, your treasure, your expertise so someone else can live a successful and fulfilled life, this is the place to be. Maybe you want to share your story, or maybe you're called to serve others. If you want to collaborate, network, and connect with a group of women who have this one guiding belief: you don't have to sacrifice your success for fulfillment, nor do you have to sacrifice your fulfillment for success. You can #have it all, as long as you're the one who defines what it all is. So I invite you to come over to www.successfulandfulfilledinterview.com. Make sure you register and I'll see you there. Now you may be wondering, why do I care? Why do I do what I do? Well, my big why is to help women all over the world live life the way they want to live, the way they're called to live, the way they're created to live, the way they're purposed to live, and the way they're destined to live, not just the way they're expected to live. George Washington Carver said, "No individual has any right to come into the world and go out of it without leaving distinct and legitimate reasons for having passed through it." Growing up, I was absolutely convinced that singing and dancing on Broadway and being in movies in Hollywood were my distinct and legitimate reasons for being here. I could already see my name in lights and experiencing the costume changes, etc., etc. I even planned to go to performing arts school for college, but was waiting on the perfect time to announce it to my parents. Now, when I was a senior in high school, my parents invited me into the living room one night because they had an announcement of their own. They said that according to the Wall Street Journal, engineering and computing careers would be some of the top careers of the future. So because I was the oldest and because I was a role model, they were going to send me to engineering school. Now, all I could think of, my 18-year-old self was just like, how am I going to get an Oscar at engineering school? Literally, I felt like my entire life rested on that moment. Now, no amount of respectful rejecting could change their mind. So I went to school. I went to engineering school, and 2 years and 8 months later, I came out with a Bachelor of Science degree. Yes, I did, in a short time. And what I thought I had was my freedom. I thought that paper gave me my freedom and would please my parents. But I got a job, a real job. The money got good. I got promoted. The perks were awesome. I did well. And I was a wonderful role model. And my sisters followed closely in my footsteps. So there I was, a very artsy, analytical person in a scientific, technical world. And someone realized that about me and called me up one night and invited me to run the women's initiative for this multinational corporation. So my role was to help women get to the top on the technical side and on the business side. So I thought about it a couple of days and I said yes. And I did that globally. And I was literally told I changed the face of the corporation. One day I was working with a woman who actually told me no. She didn't want to get to the top. Now I was absolutely shocked, but deep inside I totally understood her. And all I could hear was my dream asking me, you know, Kim, you spent all this time helping all these women get to where we want them to be, but you never stop to ask yourself, where do you want to be? I had completely lost sight of my dream. And at that moment, I realized that the only thing the role model in me was demonstrating was how to live life the way I was expected to live, not the way I wanted to live. I was successful, yes, but I was unfulfilled. And for me, that was a defining moment. You see, I still love the arts, but what I realized is that the singing, the dancing, the acting were more about freedom for me, not entertainment. Freedom of expression, freedom of being, freedom of doing. And working with women all over the world, I have come to realize that every woman was born to live in a soulful state of fulfillment. And ladies, we can do it because fulfillment is not a fantasy, it's a formula. And what I do know is I am not alone. There are other women out there like me who want to live a successful and fulfilled life. So is that you? If so, here's what I want you to do. Come on over to www.successfulandfulfilledinterview.com and let's have a conversation. I really look forward to seeing you there. Enjoy the rest of the summit. Ever wonder what makes the wealthy elite the wealthy elite? Well, today's faculty trainer is going to let you in on a few secrets. I'm Kim Warren-Martin, and it is my pleasure to welcome you back to the Successful and Fulfilled Digital Summit. Dr. Terrence Cash is the chairman, founder, and CEO of Greenlight Consulting Corporation and its related companies. He's a seasoned serial entrepreneur, accredited private investor, philanthropist, best-selling author, speaker, and has over 30 years of experience and success in business. He grew a startup tech venture to over $32 million in revenues and enjoyed a private sale of the business for 8 figures in his early 40s. Your money mindset, 5 major ways to make money, are just a couple of the topics he's going to cover in today's training. So let's bring on Dr. Terrence Cash as he trains on hidden truths and open lies of the wealthy in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. It's a pleasure and honor to be here at the Success and Fulfillment Summit. I'm Dr. Terrence Cash, chairman and founder of Greenlight and its related family of companies. And today I'm going to talk to you about the hidden truths and open lies of the wealthy. You know, being poor is a lot like the following. It's like 2 wolves and a sheep asking what's for dinner. You know, being affluent, wealthy, and rich It's like when the sheep answers, he likes his fried wolf broiled, and you see the little firearm in his hand. Over the years, I learned valuable lessons, and I learned valuable lessons because I asked questions. And the rich, wealthy, and affluent individuals found these questions engaging. Now, some of you may feel like asking questions is a sign of weakness. I couldn't disagree with you more. So today, I'm going to share some observations about why the world's wealthiest people are so successful in creating profitable businesses and experiencing wealth and financial fulfillment. I'm also going to outline some hidden truths and open lies that they use to prevent you from becoming more like them. So let's go to hidden truth number one, shall we? The first hidden truth as it relates to creating wealth. The only difference between you and the people you admire, imitate, or maybe even envy financially is their mindset, their perspective, and their relationship with money. You see, the rich and affluent have a very productive and enlightened mindset. They have a very expansive and broad perspective, and they have a measurably more productive relationship with money. That's the only difference between you ladies and the people you admire. Now, how many of you believe what you feel you attract is the most important aspect of your mindset with reference to your money game? But what about what you think? What you think you attract? What about what you want? What you want, you attract. What about what you love? How many of you believe that? Well, the single most important aspect of your mindset that I receive from the rich is your belief system about money, specifically your money belief system. And according to the law of attraction, you attract what you believe to be true. You attract what you believe to be true. Would you believe that the single most important element of your mindset, especially as it relates to your money game, is your belief system about money? Your money belief system. What you believe, why you believe it, and most importantly, what you're prepared to do, ladies, about what you believe. So the takeaway, as said in the Bible, Proverbs 23, verse 7, as a man thinks in his heart, so is he. So what other aspects of your mindset should you consider? What other aspects are important? Well, we already covered what you believe, as in what you believe, why you believe it, and what you're prepared to do about what you believe. What do you fear? Do you fear success? Maybe you fear failure, maybe even rejection. What do you love? What do you hate? What do you have passion for? These are just other aspects of your belief system that you should consider. You know, it's been said that men lie, women lie, but facts, figures, and results never lie. So fact, the average NBA basketball player makes about $6.4 million per year. Now, we're not talking about superstars like Kevin Durant, LeBron James, and Stephen Curry. We're talking about guys that are coming off the bench. Fact, over 70% of these basketball players will be broke or filing for bankruptcy before their relatively short careers end. Since we just alluded to him, let's talk about superstar LeBron James. Now, most of you know LeBron James has recently taken his talents to LA. And I've heard he's making over $50 million. So these numbers are just a little outdated. But when he was playing with the Cleveland Cavaliers, LeBron James made about $33.2 million per year. Now, that's a lot of money. Let's look at the long list of deductions that he experienced on his paycheck. Over $3 million was taken from him in escrow fees. Federal taxes added up to about $11 million. He had $2.1 million in state and city taxes, and on and on and on. LeBron netted just $16.7 million per year, which is about 50%. Thank God he makes $55 million in his endorsement deals, which are not subject to the same taxes because they go through a business entity. So how can you be more like the wealthy? Well, first thing you should know, which is the truth, people who know how usually end up making less money or working for people who know why. So if you want to be the person with most of the money at the end of the day or transaction, you want to be the why guy or why guy. So now let's move to hidden truth number 2. I would say all important hidden truth number 2. The rich, affluent, and wealthy taught me that there are 2 distinct and extremely different types of people on the planet. The first group are called living people. And of course, I'm talking about human beings, those of us fortunate and privileged and blessed to be breathing at the current moment. The second group are legal people. And legal people include the group of artificial people like estates, trusts, LLCs, and corporations are all people, just like us. Matter of fact, they're exactly like us. They're righted, privileged, and protected under the Constitution of the United States. They're acknowledged, benefited, and advantaged under the laws of your home state. But here's the difference. While they are identical to us, equivalent to us in every single way, as it relates to money, those other people, the legal people, run circles around us. So now we see that a certain group of people that we probably didn't acknowledge or even know about are better at making money than we are. They're better at protecting money than we are. And we would be at significant disadvantage if we didn't work through artificial people, these legal people, to make the money that we want to create wealth. But one of the first things you got to know about creating wealth is usually at some point needs to produce copious amounts of money. Well, if you want to produce copious amounts of money, you should know the 5 different ways that you make money. I call it the money rule of 5. And there are only 5 ways to make money. You can earn it, you can borrow it, you can save it, you can inherit it, or you can steal it. So going in reverse order and outlining these in reverse order, of course, we're not advocating stealing, so just don't do it. So let's get that off right from the beginning. Now you can inherit it. Now inheritance has some inherent shortcomings. First and foremost, you have to be part of the lucky sperm pool, meaning you have to be born in the right family. 2, you must be the family favorite. So if you're not constantly being invited to Thanksgiving dinner or Christmas or other holiday celebration, unfortunately, that's probably not you. And third, but not least, somebody's got to die. Or as my Jamaican friends say, everybody wants to go to heaven, but nobody wants dead. So that's inheritance. Saving. How about saving? Savings is good, right? Savings works. But my mother was a tremendous saver and became a millionaire in her late 70s. But the disadvantages and the shortcomings are, for starters, it takes too long. Number 2, you have to scrape and struggle and scrimp and sacrifice for long periods of time. 3, you only become a millionaire or better in your latter years, your 70s, 80s, or 90s, just to die to give it to your kids. Anyway, the wealthy don't save money, they actually accumulate cash. It might sound like the same thing, but their 2 are vastly different. What about borrowing? Well, the rich do it all the time. I do it all the time. It's called leverage. And it is a tremendous vehicle and tool to begin to create wealth. As long as your cost of money is less than your upside yield or return on whatever you invested that money in or parked it at, you're always going to come out on top. And it's a very savvy and strategic way to start to create wealth, especially if you don't have it to begin with. So this is something I want you to think about, ladies. What are the odds? What are the chances? What are the probabilities of you being able to, realistically, ladies, create wealth in your lifetime? Now, I'm 56 years old, and I'm in pretty good shape. And even though I've been away from the gym for a few years and put on some pounds after I retired briefly after selling my tech business for 8 figures, I'm still being able to press my weight in the gym, I'm sure. But if you ask me to do a handstand with my arm, it's most likely that I won't be able to do it. So we're now down to the number one way to make money, earning it. But how? How do you earn this money? We've seen that the two things that work best and that are most likely to create wealth is borrowing and earning. Now let's talk about how you earn it. The first thing you should understand about wealth, that there's only one way to create it. Not 5, not 10, not 20, not 50, not 100. Only one way, most likely, keywords, most likely to produce wealth is to launch, nurture, and grow a profitable, sustainable, and productive business enterprise. Now, once you have that enterprise, once that business is really turning over and having your money do backflips, you want much of the profits from that business to go in some productive investments, right? The big thing about investing money is you park it somewhere, someplace that you trust and that's going to produce a suitable and lucrative return for you. In other words, making money with money. Our chairman's fund at Greenlight is a company that I created a few years ago that puts out double-digit growth. It's diversified, it's tax exempt, and it delivers quarterly cash dividends and payouts every 90 days. It's a mix of growth and value, and it's something that has totally revitalized some people's retirement plans. Finally, let's talk about hidden truth number 3. The third hidden truth that the wealthy and affluent shared with me, that there are 2 different types of business. We've learned earlier that there are 2 different types of people. Now we're hearing there are 2 very different types of businesses. Now, the first business is like every business you've ever saw. We call it a primary operating business. And that's like McDonald's and Walmart, Microsoft and your company, Greenlight and any company you've ever come to know is a primary operating business. It generates revenues, it creates profits, and it has all sorts of activities going on that are helping the top and the bottom line. But then there's a second type of business. There's a business that the rich don't talk about at cocktail parties. And that business is called a new lifestyle business. And is the key and the foundation to how the rich get rich in the first place. So a new lifestyle business, to be sure, is a special purpose secondary business that's designed to help you produce the following 4 major advantages and benefits to your personal life. Imagine this. Imagine we take your personal life and lifestyle and we translate and convert it into this special purpose secondary business. You would experience the following. First, you'd be able to fund and finance your business and your life in a manner that you never thought possible. You want to take that business trip that the untrained eye would confuse with a vacation. Now you can write that off. What about if you are wanting to finance a wedding? Ever been able to write off a wedding? Well, now you can. Just ask Russian billionaire Len Blavatnik, who had Bruno Mars come out, sing 6 songs, and he had a whole spread and a wonderful time in all of these amenities. $5 million birthday party for his 13-year-old daughter. And guess what, ladies? He wrote the entire thing off. He wrote every penny of that off. And we can show you how to do it, and more importantly, why it works. 2, it protects you and your personal assets from major legal liabilities and encumbrances. 3, it overhauls your investments so that you get better gains, yields, or upside. And finally, we usually list it last. Clients always like to talk about it first. It gives you the opportunity and permission to pay the minimum legal tax. Now, what is a top success formula for the rich? The first thing is the rich know intimately that wisdom and experience are priceless. So they invest in themselves first. So what am I saying? You're going to need a coach. You're going to need a mentor. You're going to need a strategist whose philosophy you resonate with, ladies. All things being equal, that's what you're buying at the end of the day. So, in summary, remember the 3 hidden truths that are going to bring you to your first steps in creating wealth. Number 1, the only difference between you and the wealthy elite is their mindset, perspective, and relationship with money. Number 2, there are 2 different and distinct types of people on the planet, and one of them, the legal people, run circles around us as it relates to money. Number 3, there are 2 different types of businesses. Primary operating businesses, and that's what you have now, more than likely, you ladies out there. And 2, of course, there is the new lifestyle business, which is a special purpose secondary business, which maximizes the money you make from all other sources. So in conclusion, the takeaway is, alluding to our first anecdote with our good friend the sheep, don't be a wolf who brings a fork to a gunfight, or at least don't go out to dinner with crafty sheep if you don't know what's on the menu. I'm Dr. Terrence Cash of Greenlight, and it's been my pleasure to deliver this message today. God bless you all.
Hi, I'm Kim Warren Martin, and I'm the founder of Successful and Fulfilled, where our mission is to help women to embrace the courage I know you already have to step out of your comfort zone and live life the way you want to live, not just the way you're expected to live. It's not about leaving your job, your family, or school, or any of that. It's about launching into what I call the #undeniable you. So if you want to be a part of a mastermind and enjoy the type of training and support you're receiving now, where experts talk about components of self-mastery, business principles, and wealth building, if you're looking to make sure you're connected to a resource that is all about supporting you to live a successful and fulfilled lifestyle, come on over to www.successfulandfulfilledinterview.com now. I want to meet with you to make sure it's a good fit. If you want to be a part of this movement of individuals dedicated to not only the emotional state of happiness, but also the soulful state of fulfillment, I invite you to a private conversation to make sure you learn more about us and we learn more about you. Come on over to www.successfulandfulfilledinterview.com now. It is a great way for me to learn more about what you want to be successful, about what you need to be fulfilled, and what's most important to you in your life. This is a highly customized membership, so we are very selective. And so I want to meet with you to be sure it's a good fit for both of us. If you're ready to share your talents, your skills, your treasure, your expertise so someone else can live a successful and fulfilled life, this is the place to be. Maybe you want to share your story, or maybe you're called to serve others. If you want to collaborate, network, and connect with a group of women who have this one guiding belief: you don't have to sacrifice your success for fulfillment, nor do you have to sacrifice your fulfillment for success. You can #have it all, as long as you're the one who defines what it all is. So I invite you to come over to www.successfulandfulfilledinterview.com. Make sure you register and I'll see you there. Now you may be wondering, why do I care? Why do I do what I do? Well, my big why is to help women all over the world live life the way they want to live, the way they're called to live, the way they're created to live, the way they're purposed to live, and the way they're destined to live, not just the way they're expected to live. George Washington Carver said, "No individual has any right to come into the world and go out of it without leaving distinct and legitimate reasons for having passed through it." Growing up, I was absolutely convinced that singing and dancing on Broadway and being in movies in Hollywood were my distinct and legitimate reasons for being here. I could already see my name in lights and experiencing the costume changes, etc., etc. I even planned to go to performing arts school for college, but was waiting on the perfect time to announce it to my parents. Now, when I was a senior in high school, my parents invited me into the living room one night because they had an announcement of their own. They said that according to the Wall Street Journal, engineering and computing careers would be some of the top careers of the future. So because I was the oldest and because I was a role model, they were going to send me to engineering school. Now, all I could think of, my 18-year-old self was just like, how am I going to get an Oscar At engineering school, literally I felt like my entire life rested on that moment. Now, no amount of respectful rejecting could change their mind. So I went to engineering school, and 2 years and 8 months later, I came out with a Bachelor of Science degree. Yes, I did, in a short time. And what I thought I had was my freedom. I thought that paper gave me my freedom and would please my parents. But I got a job, a real job. The money got good. I got promoted. The perks were awesome. I did well. And I was a wonderful role model. And my sisters followed closely in my footsteps. So there I was, a very artsy, analytical person in a scientific, technical world. And someone realized that about me and called me up one night and invited me to run the women's initiative for this multinational corporation. So my role was to help women get to the top on the technical side and on the business side. So I thought about it a couple of days and I said yes. And I did that globally. And I was literally told I changed the face of the corporation. One day I was working with a woman who actually told me no. She didn't want to get to the top. Now, I was absolutely shocked, but deep inside, I totally understood her. And all I could hear was my dream asking me, you know, Kim, you spent all this time helping all these women get to where we want them to be, but you never stop to ask yourself, where do you want to be? I had completely lost sight of my dream. And at that moment, I realized that the only thing the role model in me was demonstrating was how to live life the way I was expected to live, not the way I wanted to live. I was successful, yes, but I was unfulfilled. And for me, that was a defining moment. You see, I still love the arts, but what I realized is that the singing, the dancing, the acting were more about freedom for me, not entertainment. Freedom of expression, freedom of being, freedom of doing. And working with women all over the world, I have come to realize that every woman was born to live in a soulful state of fulfillment. And ladies, we can do it because fulfillment is not a fantasy, it's a formula. And what I do know is I am not alone. There are other women out there like me who want to live a successful and fulfilled life. So is that you? If so, here's what I want you to do. Come on over to www.successfulandfulfilledinterview.com and let's have a conversation. I really, really look forward to seeing you there. Enjoy the rest of the summit. Are you actively building wealth, and not just for yourself, but for generations to come? You know, generational wealth. Greetings and welcome to today's broadcast of the Successful and Fulfilled Digital Summit. I'm Kim Warren-Martin, and I'm glad to have you here, and I'm truly looking forward to today's training. Our trainer is Sherry Peel Jackson, CEO of SP Jackson Consulting. She's a retired CPA, certified fraud examiner, and former IRS agent with over 30 years of experience in public, private, and nonprofit finance and accounting. She's a business strategist who conducts financial and wealth creation workshops in the U.S. and around the world. She consults with employees, business owners, and churches, teaching little-known strategies to eliminate debt, reduce taxes, and create generational wealth. So if you want to build wealth without giving up all your free time, getting a second job, or going back to school, you're in the right place. Let's welcome today's phenomenal trainer, Sherry Peel Jackson, author of the hit book, How to Stick It to the IRS, as she trains on how to build wealth from the ground up in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Hi there. Thank you so much, Kim, for the opportunity to share today. I am so happy to be a part of the Successful and Fulfilled Summit. So, hi, all you beautiful souls out there. I'm going to show you how to build wealth from the ground up. We're only going to scratch the surface today, but this talk is going to give you a jump start and some good ideas on how to create wealth from wherever you are in life right now. I'm going to share 4 points with you and then give you some nuggets to gain wealth. Are you ready to roll? So here are the points. First of all, you can build wealth without having to get a second job. Next, you can build wealth without a degree or having to go back to school for a higher degree. Next, you can build wealth without giving up all of your free time. And you can build wealth by using what you have right now. So first, let's talk about this second job thing. A job is for making someone else rich. And all a second job is going to do is make a second person rich and wear you out to the point that you won't have anything left for yourself and your family. Listen, your time, talents, and treasures are gifts from God to you, and you need to keep control of them and not let some boss have control of them. Next, having a college degree is very highly overrated these days unless you want to enter some kind of a profession that requires a license. Many of today's millionaires don't have degrees at all. They've taken advantage of the age of technology and edutainment, as we call it, and you can do that too. This is the easiest time in history to become wealthy because the internet is one of our most valuable tools. I'm sure a lot of you already know that. Now, instead of being limited to a city or state or even a country, your market is the world. People don't really care whether you have a bachelor's degree, master's degree, or a PhD. They only care that you have a product that they want or that you have prompt, quality service that meets their needs. That's what people want. Now, you don't have to be a type A personality workaholic like I am in order to build wealth. And as a matter of fact, thousands of people with families and even full-time jobs have become wealthy without giving up Friday night date nights and Saturday softball games with the children. In today's fast-paced society, you can still move slow, be in the moment, and make money at the same time. I don't want you to think that this is not possible because it is, and people are doing it everywhere. Finally, you can build wealth using what you have right now. You don't have to have a large stash of startup capital. You don't have to be popular with a large fan base on social media. And you don't have to go to a bank to beg for a loan to start building wealth. There is something that you have right now, ladies, that will be valuable in your journey to wealth. You just have to figure out what that is. How do I know all of these things? I am a product of the product. By no means am I proclaiming to be wealthy. However, I have developed a system called the KPG system. And when I hit rock bottom in my life, I was able to start over and build a 6-figure income in less than 5 years. And now it's even easier when I did it. You can do this too. When I did it, it was a little harder, but the internet and our whole internet system moves so fast and everything becomes obsolete so fast that it's easier now for you to do it than when I did it. In the early 2000s, after quitting my job as an IRS agent and starting a CPA firm, I became involved in what's called the tax honesty movement. And because I was so passionate about exposing the theft of our earnings through taxation, the government locked me up in federal prison with a 4-year sentence on a misdemeanor charge. Yes, I said misdemeanor charge. They were just tired of me telling people how to save their money. I actually served 3 of those years with a year off for good time in halfway house. But right after that, after coming home from prison, I ended up getting a divorce because my marriage bed had been thoroughly violated and there were still women in the picture. But that's another story for another day. So here I was with no money, no husband. Can you imagine how I felt? What I did have, though, is the sense God gave me to know that I had value and that I could add value to the marketplace, and you can too. So I immediately put my KPG system into action. I gathered all of my diamond nuggets and put them to work, and now I'm squarely on the path to wealth with a great business, multiple streams of income, and hard assets. Now, before I give you some of those diamond nuggets, let's get clear on the definition of wealth. This is the absolute best definition of wealth that I've ever seen. And once you get this concept and work towards it, you won't have time to look back. So get ready, ladies. Here it is. Wealth is measured by the number of days you can survive without working, or anyone else in your household physically working, and still maintain or increase your standard of living. So this definition of wealth eliminates people that have just accumulated houses and cars and other bling bling. Now, if that group of people got laid off or had their business income drop, within 3 months, the cars would be repossessed, houses foreclosed on, and the furniture will be on the front lawn. Yes, I've seen it with my own eyes, mahogany furniture sitting in the front lawn. This is not where we're going, ladies. My question to you is, would you like to begin the wealth building process now? I know you're saying yes. So here are the diamonds. The first diamond nugget was to assess the value that I had. What were my skills? What were my passions? Who were my allies? You know, the people that would help me. Take an assessment of your skills, your passions, and your allies. Also, what equipment do you already have? Do you have a computer? Do you have a cell phone? I had a life coach back in the day, and he gave us an exercise that I do at the end of every year for self-assessment. It's an 8-question exercise to design your future. Now, I don't have time to go through all of the questions right now, but the first 3 will help you get started on your quest to build wealth. Question number 1, what do I want? You have to know deep down in your spirit what you really want. Second question, why do I want it? In other words, why is it important to me? And the third question is a very serious question. What am I willing to give up to get it? When you answer these, here are your keys to your success. Now, having some good products and services and a means to share them in the marketplace is paramount in building wealth. I've put 2 homeless people in business because they had and were able to maintain a cell phone. So instead of even thinking about a second job, I encourage you to keep the job that you have if you have one and start a home-based business. If you have a job, then you're probably receiving health care and other benefits that you need to keep while you build your business. This is the best way to do it. Now take note, and I've seen this too much. Starting the right home-based business can propel you into having extra income quickly, but you must make sure that that money goes into debt reduction and reinvestment into that business. I see so many people starting money-making businesses and spending every dime of it on clothes, cars, and other conspicuous consumption. The way to become wealthy is to make money faster than you spend it, and those people have failed the test. Will you? Another diamond nugget. Once you've assessed your skills and your passion and started a home-based business, is to scale it to the point that your daily routine becomes like a well-oiled machine. The best example is what I had to do. Shortly after getting on probation, I was promoted on the job that I had. But instead of celebrating by buying new items, I put the money aside for saving, investing in hard assets, and investing in my business. I would come home from work, and instead of turning on that electronic income reducer, that thing that you guys call the TV, I would decompress for an hour, then start working on my business plan, got that up and running, then started working on the launch of the business. And when I got it launched, I started immediately working on the business growth. Now, you may have a family, and they always come first. You need to make sure that you take time out for date nights, dance recitals, baseball games, football games, and all of those things that you have to do with your family. However, you will need to give up habits that don't bring value into your life, like television shows that are making someone else rich. When you're watching television, you're making somebody else rich. The people that you're watching on Empire, they're building the empire while you sit there and waste time looking at them. So what habits do you need to break? Your free time and family time are priceless. You may need 2 hours to decompress at the end of the day before working on your business, or, in the evening. You have to spend some time with the children. They have homework and all those things. You may not be able to work on the business every evening. You have obligations. Some people have church services during the week. But you need to try and put in at least 3 hours during weekdays and several hours on weekends, as opposed to watching sports and all the other stuff that people do on the weekends. If you have a spouse, it may be a project that you can both share. You can join a home-based business by yourselves together. You may be taking care of the household matters while your spouse works on the business at some point, and then you switch places certain days of the week. Either way, you have to work smart in order to have quality family time, quality me time, and to get wealthy. The next diamond nugget is to get educated about social media. Instead of going back to school to get a degree, thinking that you'll make more money, get your own degree from yourself. Learn how to utilize social media platforms to gain clients and customers. There are certain systems that they put in place and funnels that they put in place. And I know people that have gone out and made millions. And these guys here are actually 3 guys that made millions utilizing the internet. There are also people that utilize YouTube and become millionaires. Whether it's singing or whether it's acting, they're utilizing social media to their financial gain. Learn how to build websites and get traffic to your products or services. For example, myself and others make money in our sleep because we've created valuable products and services that people buy online. We've also created strategic partnerships with companies like Amazon and eBay that have a large audience. I mean, a tremendous worldwide audience. And when they list our products, they get paid, but we get the lion's share. And that adds up. It adds up quickly, and it's more than candy money every month. Wouldn't an extra $1,000 a month or more enhance your life? I'm pretty sure it would. I started writing books upon my return home, but the prison books weren't making me a lot of money. Then I attended a speaker's boot camp where one of the speakers suggested that because I have a financial background, I needed to write financial books. Then I got a mentor and he showed me how to make money writing books and creating valuable products. So I have several books and several financial products that I sell, some of them online and some of them during speaking engagements. I add value to the marketplace, and in return, I'm well paid. I reinvest the funds, and I buy land, gold, silver. Those are what I consider hard assets. I don't let other people put money into the stock market, mutual funds, IRAs, and 401ks. Now, after the crash of 2008, I'm amazed that people still trust that system. But that's also another story for another day. Now we have some money coming in. We've got our businesses up and running. We have to develop savings pots. I have a short-term savings pot and a long-term savings pot. The thing you have to realize about the need for short-term savings is there aren't really many emergencies. What people call emergencies is just poor planning or no planning. For example, I've counseled with people that have high personal credit card debt and asked them why these cards are maxed out. Now, one person said of his $995 airplane ticket, "Oh, my Aunt Ola Mae that lived in Seattle died, and I promised my mama before she died that I was going to attend Aunt Ola Mae's funeral." So this is what I told them. You knew that Aunt Ola Mae was 94 years old and wouldn't last too much longer. So you should have been putting money aside each paycheck so that you could pay for the plane ticket using your debit card instead of your credit card. When we save for small expenses like new tires, new washers and dryers, or weddings and funerals, we can build wealth instead of accumulating debt. Now, your long-term savings pot is for down payments on homes, buying good used cars, which is a whole nother lesson, and possibly for college tuition, in case somebody wants to get a license, a doctor, or lawyer, or CPA. Student loan debt is out of the stratosphere because of poor planning. But if we build savings for the larger expenses, we can accelerate our path to wealth by avoiding large debt pools. Now, next is investing. As I stated a little earlier, I don't invest in anything that can disappear in the blink of an eye, like stocks, bonds, and IRAs. On September 29, 2008, the stock market nosedived 777.68 points, and Americans lost $10.2 trillion in savings. It was the largest transfer of wealth in history. The money didn't disappear. It just left your account and went into the accounts of the corporatocracy. That's the government, the corporations, and the banksters. Now, you can avoid falling into that trap again by investing in gold, silver, profitable real estate, and solid companies, including your own company. My mentors have all started businesses, gotten them up and running, then started additional businesses. Multiple streams of income are achievable and necessary if you want to build wealth. Now, once you have the funds to accumulate assets, you have got to learn how to protect these assets, because it's not just about what you earn, it's about what you keep. And wealthy people know how to create business structures to ensure that their assets aren't taken away by the government in lawsuits or divorce. Wealthy people use corporations, foundations, international business companies, LLCs, and trusts to hold assets, protect assets, build assets, and transfer assets to the next generation. So here are a couple of good examples. I know of a man that wanted to purchase a 4-story apartment complex, but instead of putting it in his name, and even instead of putting it into the corporation, he started 4 corporations and had each floor of the building placed into one of these separate corporations. Understand me, each corporation had its own bank account and its own insurance. The rent from each floor was used to repair that particular floor's issues. And each of those corporations, each of those floors, had its own income. Each floor also carried the minimal amount of insurance allowed. So if someone slipped and fell on the second floor in some water that they spilled themselves and tried to sue the building owner for millions of dollars, if they won the lawsuit, which was questionable, they would only get the amount of insurance that the corporation that owned the second floor carried. The first, third, and fourth floors would be unaffected. This is something ingenious that I learned in 1988 when I went to a wealth building financial fortress seminar that only had doctors and lawyers in it. Now, second example is of a family that I counseled that was going to give several acres of land away to their 2 children. What I suggested to them is, instead of putting the land in the children's name, 50-50, that they start a foundation or a trust and put the land in the trust. So if one of the children got a divorce, the land wouldn't be involved and would stay in the family for generations. I have seen people get disinherited time and time again because asset protection strategies were not utilized. There's a situation where an older man married a younger woman, and this woman was only 4 years older than his daughter. And he had in his will that his child, his daughter, the only child, got the assets. But what he did and what he didn't know is he put all the bank accounts in him and that new wife's name. So when he died, because those were joint bank accounts, that new wife got all of the money, and she got the house. And what she did was she gave the daughter the pictures of her father. That's crazy. That should not happen. We've got to do this stuff up front so it won't happen. Now, these wealth protection strategies sometimes cost a lot up front, but time and time again, I've seen them save property from divorce, lawsuits, and the IRS. So pay now or pay later. Now, I know you've been waiting to hear what KPG stands for. The KPG system stands for keep what you earn, protect what you earn, and grow what you earn. It's my life's assignment to teach people the KPG system so that we can escape the rat race of life and roll like the wealthy. Now, I really pray that you benefit from these KPG diamond nuggets that I'll share with you today. Well, beautiful souls, that's all I have time for today. But if you text Sherry to 408-913-6963, you can request your free book and workbook, Basic Financial Survival, Learning to Survive and Then Thrive in Any Economy. This is my first financial book and workbook, and it's going to help you reach your goals at light speed. Also, you can find more diamond nuggets on my social media pages, so I urge you to subscribe to them. Thanks for watching and have a blessed and wonderful day, and thank you for being involved in the Successful and Fulfilled Summit.
Hi, I'm Kim Warren Martin, and I'm the founder of Successful and Fulfilled, where our mission is to help women to embrace the courage I know you already have to step out of your comfort zone and live life the way you want to live, not just the way you're expected to live. It's not about leaving your job, your family, or school, or any of that. It's about launching into what I call the #undeniable you. So if you want to be a part of a mastermind and enjoy the type of training and support you're receiving now, where experts talk about components of self-mastery, business principles, and wealth building, if you're looking to make sure you're connected to a resource that is all about supporting you to live a successful and fulfilled lifestyle, come on over to www.successfulandfulfilledinterview.com now. I want to meet with you to make sure it's a good fit. If you want to be a part of this movement of individuals dedicated to not only the emotional state of happiness, but also the soulful state of fulfillment, I invite you to a private conversation to make sure you learn more about us and we learn more about you. Come on over to www.successfulandfulfilledinterview.com now. It is a great way for me to learn more about what you want to be successful, about what you need to be fulfilled, and what's most important to you in your life. This is a highly customized membership, so we are very selective. And so I want to meet with you to be sure it's a good fit for both of us. If you're ready to share your talents, your skills, your treasure, your expertise so someone else can live a successful and fulfilled life, this is the place to be. Maybe you want to share your story, or maybe you're called to serve others. If you want to collaborate, network, and connect with a group of women who have this one guiding belief: you don't have to sacrifice your success for fulfillment, nor do you have to sacrifice your fulfillment for success. You can #have it all, as long as you're the one who defines what it all is. So I invite you to come over to www.successfulandfulfilledinterview.com. Make sure you register and I'll see you there. Now you may be wondering, why do I care? Why do I do what I do? Well, my big why is to help women all over the world live life the way they want to live, the way they're called to live, the way they're created to live, the way they're purposed to live, and the way they're destined to live, not just the way they're expected to live. George Washington Carver said, "No individual has any right to come into the world and go out of it without leaving distinct and legitimate reasons for having passed through it." Growing up, I was absolutely convinced that singing and dancing on Broadway and being in movies in Hollywood were my distinct and legitimate reasons for being here. I could already see my name in lights and experiencing the costume changes, etc., etc. I even planned to go to performing arts school for college, but was waiting on the perfect time to announce it to my parents. Now, when I was a senior in high school, my parents invited me into the living room one night because they had an announcement of their own. They said that according to the Wall Street Journal, engineering and computing careers would be some of the top careers of the future. So because I was the oldest and because I was a role model, they were going to send me to engineering school. Now, all I could think of, my 18-year-old self was just like, how am I going to get an Oscar at engineering school? Literally, I felt like my entire life rested on that moment. Now, no amount of respectful rejecting could change their mind. So I went to school. I went to engineering school, and 2 years and 8 months later, I came out with a Bachelor of Science degree. Yes, I did, in a short time. And what I thought I had was my freedom. I thought that paper gave me my freedom and would please my parents. But I got a job, a real job. The money got good. I got promoted. The perks were awesome. I did well, and I was a wonderful role model, and my sisters followed closely in my footsteps. So there I was, a very artsy, analytical person in a scientific, technical world. And someone realized that about me and called me up one night and invited me to run the Women's Initiative for this multinational corporation. So my role was to help women get to the top on the technical side and on the business side. So I thought about it a couple of days and I said yes. And I did that globally. And I was literally told I changed the face of the corporation. One day I was working with a woman who actually told me no. She didn't want to get to the top. Now, I was absolutely shocked, but deep inside, I totally understood her. And all I could hear was my dream asking me, you know, Kim, you spent all this time helping all these women get to where we want them to be, but you never stop to ask yourself, where do you want to be? I had completely lost sight of my dream. And at that moment, I realized that the only thing the role model in me was demonstrating was how to live life the way I was expected to live, not the way I wanted to live. I was successful, yes, but I was unfulfilled. And for me, that was a defining moment. You see, I still love the arts, but what I realized is that the singing, the dancing, the acting were more about freedom for me, not entertainment. Freedom of expression, freedom of being, freedom of doing. And working with women all over the world, I have come to realize that every woman was born to live in a soulful state of fulfillment. And ladies, we can do it because fulfillment is not a fantasy, it's a formula. And what I do know is I am not alone. There are other women out there like me who want to live a successful and fulfilled life. So is that you? If so, here's what I want you to do. Come on over to www.successfulandfulfilledinterview.com and let's have a conversation. I really, really look forward to seeing you there. Enjoy the rest of the summit.